Like here, I think we're just...
I don't want these reviews to be too long, so obviously I'll skip over some things. This game was a 50-minute game. I want to showcase the most important mistakes and problems that the team is having.
I mean, Nemesis, you think that because you're playing Vladimir and you have no chase, but we have chase.
No, you don't.
No.
We
No,
do.
you don't.
We do.
No, you don't.
Let's look at the both team comps, see what's the win condition of both teams. We take a look at this team comp first. A lot of range with Jace and Kai'Sa. Obviously a lot of range as well with Ezreal and Azir. But the problem is, Kai'Sa W outranges Ezreal. Ezreal range, Jace QE outranges. So both teams have a lot of poke. The main advantage that Los Ratones has is that they have Ivern, which Ivern can block a lot of poke with Daisy and Shield. But also it can allow Ezreal and Azir to take more aggressive positions when poking, which is something I don't think Los Ratones did very well, which is something we're going to talk about. Overall though, there's a massive lack of engage on Los Ratones. There is only Vi is like the only thing that can realistically engage, which is another thing that I don't think they recognized well. And we're going to look at a lot of timers that the Baus had, where he could have done a lot more roams or picks or flanks. Overall though, pretty similar drafts. These guys can poke, these guys can poke. Just more playmaking on this side. This team has to be a bit more creative. When it comes to lanes, Azir versus Yone, not the best matchup for Azir, but certainly he can farm. Side lane can become difficult sometimes. He's very vulnerable to getting like all in, and Yone can out-sustain him. But it's not unplayable by any means. Top lane, Vi obviously can all-in Jace, but if Jace gets out of lane for free and he can get some tanky items like Sojourn and Grasp, he'll be okay, but he's very vulnerable to getting ganked. Bot lane is the roughest lane in my opinion. Playing Braum and then they're allowed to go Nico, probably they just assumed, oh, well, these guys have Kai'Sa, so I can just go Braum and, you know, they're probably going to go like Kai'Sa Leona, Kai'Sa Rel, Kai'Sa Not, these type of things, right? And that's like fine reasoning to have, but Nico kind of fits the theme of how Kai'Sa wants to play. Like she can set up Plasma for Kai'Sa to ulti, right? So Nico kind of smart pick for them in that sense. They already had the front line with Maokai, so they can get away with Nico pick. So that makes the Braum pick kind of awkward. Nico obviously can bully the Braum, and Braum can't really all-in Nico because of Nico W. So I think that's pretty smart pick by them.
Listen, okay, let's just say this. When we're playing in these metas, the enemy team is sometimes drafting and cooking in the kitchen with f***ing lobsters and soy sauce and chili oils and fucking garlic. Bro, we got a packet of spaghetti.
So the game starts off with a level 1 looking for these bushes, assuming that Nico Kai'Sa, maybe they could be here. In general, when people play range supports, they like to control these bushes here to try to have some control in lane. And they're essentially just hoping that they're going to meet enemy and press Braum Q. And basically that's what happens. But I don't like what happens now. Kai'Sa has blown Flash and Cleanse. The game timer is starting to tick. LR ended up diving Kai'Sa here, but it becomes quite the commitment. Taking a look at it, you see Azir blows Flash. Yes, Nico ended up using Flash and Heal, but she does not need to do that. That is just hindsight. And looking at minimap, LR has no info. How can you know right now? Like, sure, you can assume they're gonna go here and ward, it's common, right? But these guys could just all come here as well. But the main reason why I don't like this is because of what could happen to Azir if Yone was a better player. So Azir is way too late in his lane, so already losing his TP. If you play Yone and you have Fleet, D-Shield, Second Wind, Absorb Life, and you're against an Azir who TP's back already and has no flash, you can make a lot of funny things happen to Nemesis lane now. So overall, in my opinion, they should have taken the fact that Kai'Sa just used sums and left it like that. Because I think if this is a better player on Yone, he should be able to win mid really hard right now and make Neme really struggle. I think coming into the game here now, when Azir bases, when you play with Ivern in general, Ivern likes to have yellow trinket. Why? Because Ivern is not really a ganking jungler. He most often just covers his laner or shields them and stuff. He doesn't really sweep and then gank like a Jarvan would. I think in general, playing double yellow trinket is not ideal. You do need somebody that has sweeper, because otherwise it's really hard to make any plays happen. So if I was playing Azir on this base, getting Blasting Wand, my jungler is Ivern, having yellow trinket, I would want to go sweeper. Azir likes making areas be fog, so you can look for shuffles, you can make Yone more scared. Especially in coordinated play, you really don't want double yellow trinket for like long period of time. I think for the start of the game here is fine, because you're not going to do anything as level 3 Azir, right? Going into top lane here, something important happened. It's kind of funny and Baus should have died, but let's focus on the important thing. The important thing here, except for Jace hitting the tower, is that Jace used flash. We talked about that Vi is essential for LR this game to make things happen. Most drafts need somebody to do something, and in this game, Vi is the champion that can make things happen. And so I think you have something important to play for now as LR, that Jace, very vulnerable champ, has no flash versus Vi 6 incoming, and this is not something they really played for. This was crazy right here. Enemy team is doing grubs, but what champion are they playing? They're playing Maokai with no flash. Vi has to cancel Jace here. It's essential that as a team, we are all trying to make sure that this Jace suffers without flash. So if you're Vi in this case, you must go and cancel Jace. This wave is not going to crash. You just here, let these creeps die, pull the wave up, run up the lane. You know, instead of queuing this, you just let the wave die, take the creep aggro, pull it up, and walk up to Jace. And you cancel him. This guy should never get to recall here. I think recalling like this, when there's a wave timer, is just really bad. Okay? The amount of time you save from basing here, compared to just basing in Tribush or here, it's just not worth losing out on the play. Look at Jace's wave. Jace is forced by the video game to stand here. If Jace walks up to ward this bush, he's dead to Vi and Ivern. If he doesn't, he can't farm. Why wouldn't Ivern just base here? Vi could be trading with Jace if she knows Ivern will hover on next wave. Vi Q will come back up. He can do one trade here, like slightly losing trade. And then how do you play this wave out as Jace? So I think Veigar could hover one time, but if you are the Baus, you cannot go for the trade when your jungler is basing, because it goes both ways. I think Veigar should look one time, but also the Baus should not be queuing in when Ivern goes to base. This is something that happens a lot with the Baus gameplay. He doesn't adapt his playstyle. It's good that he's willing to go in and scrap and fight, but there's a time and place, right? And so doing this if Ivern was actually here wouldn't be that bad, but Ivern decided not to, so now it's wrong for Vi to do this. You should never ever do this if Ivern chooses to base. Next important thing, in my opinion, is for the second grubs. The thing to play around now is your Azir. Because Azir got that kill early and he got gifted another kill, he actually TPs back with Nashers here. Having Nashers on Azir is a massive spike and should result in LR having full control topside. Combined with the fact that Vi is on the wave, full health with ulti coming up, this should be a winning situation for them. When you use your soldier, they see you. So Neme should never ever go like this. It gives Maokai much more room to breathe and relax, and same for the Nico. They essentially know Azir is here. Second thing is, Braum should never disconnect from Ivern and Azir here. This bush and this bush should be LR's territory, and there's nothing that should stop it unless Jace pushes and moves down. 3v3 with Azir having flash up, you should be happy. Azir has flash, Ivern has flash. Who does Yone ulti? Then they should be able to hold this pink, and then Azir hits this wave with Ivern shields, and then you have full control. But instead what happens is, Nico pushes mid with Yone. Now LR has to respond to the grubs, which is just worse. Maokai ends up dying, so it's all fine at the end of the day. But if LR played it better, they could have gotten grubs faster. Of course, still good pick, but this was Maokai dying. Next thing that I think is important to talk about is, if you look at Vi, she's gonna end up with Collector. How can we give Vi Collector here without it ruining our map? Look at this. Ezreal gets this bot wave. Now Ezreal wants to base for Triforce. Vi has Collector, but Vi didn't want to base because her team is topside. Right now, I think LR's team is really spiked. I think their team on one item, so Triforce, Nashor's, really strong. I think on 2 items, Triforce, Muramana, 2 items Azir, Redemption and Moonstone on Ivern. Their champs are insane, okay? Those really massive spikes for these champions, and I need to use it. So how can we use it? Blue buff is spawning soon on enemy team. That's something we can play for. We can play to dive the Jace, who, again, has no flash. This is things we can play for. So what I would like is Crowny to base, Vi to just recall here, because we're not playing on this wave anyways. Then you can just keep winning your lanes. Ezreal goes top with Triforce. Jace can never touch this wave, because he will have no vision. Azir just stands here and pushes mid, and you just lane top with the Ezreal, and Jace can't breathe. Like, he's slowly just gonna get poked by the Ezreal and the Braum. This Kai'Sa loses 1v1 to this Vi. She gets completely one-shot by the Halo Blades Collector Vi. And I think that would not be a bad play. And it would be a good way for Ezreal to get his items and be included in the game on his spike. Because this Kai'Sa is not strong right now. This Kai'Sa is going for a really scaly build. This build is not strong. She has Q upgrade now, but she has like no damage. She just has AD. There's no crit, there's no attack speed. This is not a strong build at this point of the game. It gets really strong, but it's not strong right now. And I think by having Ezreal taking over top lane and Vi 1v1 in Kai'Sa, they are able to invade this blue buff spawn that will come now. They're able to look for a fight, a better one, and Ezreal can slowly poke out this guy with Triforce. Instead now Ezreal is just stuck 1v1 versus Kai'Sa. If Vi was 1v1ing the Kai'Sa, for sure this Kai'Sa with Cleanse gets one-shot by this Vi. Now blue buff fight happens, and Vi is bot and Ezreal is bot. So now we have like one play here and one play here. And I felt like if Vi was just bot 1v1 in Kai'Sa, and Ezreal was just top, the game is so good. Now, at this point of the game, we enter mid-game. My biggest problem is how they went about progressing their game. Because if you take a look at the game, I mean, you should feel pretty good in their position. This Kai'Sa is still not that strong. She will become strong soon, but she's not that strong yet. Your Ivern, your Azir, your Ezreal is very strong. So how do you progress this game from now? I think big problem this game is that every turret has been kind of up this game, and you're going to see that they didn't really do a good job progressing when it comes to the towers, because they get some push, and they get top turret here, and they get Herald, but after that, this game kind of slowed down. When Azir gets this turret, and he pushes top, and he gets Herald on Ivern, this becomes the next objective, this becomes the next objective, and this becomes the next objective. Azir is really strong and he has no TP. Azir should sprint bot lane. Opening the map through mid is good when your presence changes this mid wave, okay? But in this situation, Azir should just arrive on bot lane already and start pushing and using his bot push to help mid on the next wave if they want to do that. But going mid now is a big mistake from Neme in my opinion, because he should just show on bot here. If you look at the vision that Neme has, he sees Jace, right? His Ivern is coming, his Vi is around. He has this plant here. Braum can just come and get vision with him and Ivern. Imagine here, Azir is like here. Ivern and Braum coming. Easily Azir can hit this wave that's coming right now. Because why is he here? There's no wave. Azir should have already one-shot this wave. And then he can still come to this Drake. And he can then stay around mid. And it's just better play. And what I don't like is doing dragon like this. So let me explain. Remember what happened a minute ago. When you take this and you take this wave and this guy starts to push, the clock starts to tick. What I mean by that is, if you don't make a proactive play, like you dive someone or you gank someone or you kill someone, this guy is going to keep pushing. And if he keeps pushing and starts taking your towers and all you're doing is hitting a dragon, I don't really like that. Okay, LR has Herald up. In my opinion, they should be playing the game to pressure, not to do Dragon. Dragon should be the exit. When you end the play, they should look to do Drake, in my opinion. Drake is something you do because you don't have anything better to do. But imagine now if Azir is playing to push, and then they get proper vision, Vi can just chill with top lane, and if they want to sit here with 2 people top lane and push, Vi can just give this tower and force with her team. Look. Enemy showed Yone and Jay's top lane. If LR now just goes bot lane and places Herald, what can these guys do? By the time they've taken this tower, if Azir is bot playing the game quickly, because that's what I want, when you push side deep, we should play the game quickly, not slowly. If Azir goes bot and pushes, and team is hovering him, Vi could even cancel base here and just look to ult some guy in the head if they walk up. And you run it down with Herald, you get 2 turrets, and then after pushing, you can still go Dragon. But when you do Drake first, now it's harder to Herald, because all of your tempo that you got from as you're pushing deep has been used on the Drake. Now enemy team can end their play, they can just base here, and now they can respond to your play. Imagine now, you are this Jace and this Yone. You take this wave and you just immediately recall. If LR wants to go for Herald on bot, they won't have time to get this tower now. But if they did this play like a minute ago, then they would get 2 towers with enemy having no counterplay. Instead, Jace and Yone starts wasting time, so you have to take it with a grain of salt, like these guys are just too bad. But if they're already bot now, because they just based after taking that wave, this Herald play never ever works, by the way. So we've gotten the tier 1 on bot, we've gotten the tier 2 on bot. This turret, the mid turret, and I know LS doesn't like this turret, and you guys might meme me for this, but in this game I do think this tower matters a lot. And the reason why I think so is when you play against a poke comp like Kai'Sa and stuff like this, you need them to have room to make mistakes. You need this Kai'Sa to make mistake and Vi to find a flank. You need to push waves deep and have more timers to look for rotations and picks with your Vi. Otherwise, Kai'Sa with the AP build will just poke you. And in general, if you can get this gold without losing gold, it's just good, right? Ella's main point is when people tunnel on this tower and they lose a bunch of gold going for it. So how can they get this tower? Main way to get this tower is either Herald it, which we don't have Herald, or 2, play around cannon waves. So what do I want to see? How do I want them to get the tower? If you take a look at Baus, he is really strong in his 1v1s, okay? I need him to find a timer on a cannon wave to get to group. So, let's watch. Here, we look from base. What is that? A cannon. Baus here bases. Do you think he has item in base? No. He buys Nukeweaver. Nukeweaver is not useful. And now we have the problem again where 2 people are here, but the wave is here. And why is that a problem? Ezreal should be, in my opinion, allowed to stand here and cue the wave as it's coming. We should be able to stand in their jungle and play aggressive, so that we can hit the mid turret on the cannon wave. There is no dragon. Take a look. Drake takes 3 minutes here to spawn. Even if, let's say, you don't break the tower, if you chunk it to this, on the next cannon wave, you can then just get it. This is worth their timers, as long as they don't lose a lot of farm. And I'm gonna show you, again, Ezreal takes the wave, this is good gameplay. Vi takes this wave. Vi sees Yone, sees Nico, sees Kai'Sa. Maokai is not gonna solo kill Vi. If Vi runs now to mid, and the team gives Vi space to come to mid, right, which means here, Azir got the wave already. If Braum and Ivern now shifts their pressure towards the Vi and Ezreal shifts to the Vi and helps the Vi connect to mid, you have push on this wave. Yone is showing. Vi could be coming to mid. You can for sure hit the turret. Instead, Ezreal is in river. He's not poking people. Braum based for new wards, which in my opinion is irrelevant. Getting wards here is not relevant. You already have full vision here. and you see Yone, you know Yone is gonna come from this side with no TP as well. Think if they just stand topside and they allow Vi to come, Kai'Sa can't step up on this wave. You would dive her. If Yone shows on sideline here, taking this wave, which he will always do, then you can dive. This wave that Vi pushed before she based will always get collected. So now I want you to imagine if Ezreal was in the lane pushing and Vi was coming from this angle. This Kai'Sa is dead. If Kai'Sa sits under turret, you can look for either a quick dive or again just chunk the turret quickly, because it is worth your tempo. You need to progress the game. Instead, they're all standing around mid, achieve nothing, which brings me to my next point. If you're not going to group on the cannon wave while they are showing on side lanes, if you're not going to do that, then there's no point for Azir to stay mid for this long, and then Azir should just go back to side with the vision he has and just push again. Nemme now ends up staying way too long around mid, so he doesn't get deep push on side, and he ends up taking so long to go for this bot wave that his timers is just like messed up. Because now next mid wave comes, and now he's on side. They should have just grouped earlier and set this up properly. Then they could have looked for a dive or a gank on Kai'Sa, or chipping at the turret. But if they're not going to be grouped as the wave is like coming like this, then now at this point, since nobody's here, with the vision Azir has, he has to return to side and push it deep one more time to find a better timer later. So moving on, there is this Drake situation. Overall, their team fights, I feel like the way Velia plays Ivern is just problematic, in my opinion. Because he kind of shields randomly, like you see there. He just shields the Ezreal when the Ezreal is staring at a Maokai. Like, he's not shielding Kai'Sa poke. He's not shielding Jace QE. He just shields whoever is looking at someone. It's not how you play Ivern. You don't shield Ezreal here. Because now, if Kai'Sa W flies at somebody, that person doesn't have shield. Or when now Braum finds an angle, he's not shielded already. Bowsy. And Azir. Bows gets his top wave. Beautiful. Again, Bows is really good at this. He gets his wave. Now we have the Bows timer. Which is why I said from draft. Vi creates a lot of angles for their team in this draft. But I don't think they did it good enough. So Vi roams. This is good. Ezreal now gets his third item. See? Almost third item. Okay? When he gets BT, he's really strong. We're gonna see this timer again when he gets his third item. Okay? Right now it's 2.5. We have 3 people here looking for bot. Then we have Vi going to mid. Then we drop this bot wave to go all mid when we're late again. It's same thing as before. I feel like LR don't know which waves to play for and how. Because here, when you take this wave, Vi gets freed up, so she wants to look for a play. That's fine. That's good. Okay? That's good. But what do you want to play for? Because if you're LR, if you want to play for this mid wave, that's fine. But look at how these guys are puffing. If they want to play for this mid wave, they should run into enemy team here. It cannot be allowed to show top here. Look. Show top as Jace with no TP. Show bot as Yone with no TP. And we are afraid to face check this bush and make our vision line like this. Right? Remove their vision, remove pinks that they could have. We have triple sweeper. Place our last remaining wards deeper. And again, look to unlock this tower and look for a dive or a play when no TP showing on side. No TP showing on side. We need Reckless with Iron Shield to walk us in and pincer enemy team. But look, we just refuse to do it. Look, we do it now. It's too late. Like I said, which wave are we playing for? We get this bot wave. That frees up Azir. We get this top wave. That frees up Vi. Which means we play on this mid wave. Which means Braum and Ivern have to walk in here with Azir. We have to walk in and look. Because otherwise, if you go here and let's say this is warded. Let's say this was warded by somebody. And Braum shows, then this is going to be a disaster as well. Because now by the time you get there, whatever picks you could have looked for is gone. So at this point, this is like useless now at this point. Skipping ahead 1 minute, we have another timer from the bows. Good sideway push. Here is when I'm saying Ezreal's gonna get free items. So same thing. Vi has pushed side lane really deep, and the other side has pushed deep as well. Not as deep as Vi, so Azir doesn't have as large of a timer as Vi does, but it still has a timer, and Ivern is coming. Why aren't we pincering them? Here Ivern marks camps. Ezreal has TP. Why aren't we pincering? Ezreal can TP on the pink. Vi has a perfect flank. Where are we going? It's so weird to watch, no?